The distress signal came from nowhere. It screamed across the void on every known frequency, raw and desperate, cutting through the silence like a knife. The Resolute, Captain Elena Rivera's deep space exploration vessel, picked it up 3 light-years from the void sectors, a region of space so infamous that even the most hardened species refused to enter. "Captain," said Chen, the comms officer, his face pale. It's a civilian transport, Kalrathi design. They're saying something tore through their hull. Life support is failing. They have children on board." Rivera stood from her chair, jaw tight. Around her, the bridge crew exchanged nervous glances. Everyone knew the stories. The void sectors didn't just swallow ships, it erased them. No wreckage. No survivors. No answers. "How many signatures?" she asked. 4 vessels. All broadcasting distress, all dying. The tactical officer, Lieutenant Okafor, shook his head. "Captain, no one answers calls from the void. The Galactic Council classified it as a no-fly zone decades ago. Every species that's gone in hasn't come back." "I know." Rivera's voice was cold, controlled. "But we're not every species," she tapped the console. "All hands, this is the captain. We're diverting to answer a distress call. Prep rescue teams. Marines to combat ready. Engineering, I want redundancy on every system. We go in smart and we come out alive." The ship's AI, a smooth contralto voice, chimed softly. "Captain, statistical probability of survival in the void sectors is—" "I don't care about statistics," Rivera cut in. "Prep the jump." The Resolute dropped out of FTL into a graveyard. Dozens of ships drifted in the black, spinning slowly, their hulls torn open like cans. Some were ancient, designs from species that had gone extinct centuries ago. Others were fresh, their running lights still flickering weakly. "Mother of God," whispered Chen. Rivera's blood ran cold. This wasn't a battlefield. There were no weapon signatures. No burn marks from plasma or kinetic strikes. The ships had been opened, peeled apart with surgical precision. "Life signs," she demanded. "Faint. 14 survivors across 3 vessels. They're clustered in sealed compartments. Launch rescue shuttles. Marines escort. Full EVA gear. If something moves, I want to know about it." Okafor hesitated. "Captain? This is a trap." Rivera met his eyes. "I know, but we're human. We answer the call anyway." The first shuttle latched onto the Kalrathi transport's airlock 20 minutes later. Sergeant Malik's fire team moved in, rifles up, helmet cams streaming back to the Resolute. What they found was worse than silence. The interior was intact. No hull breach, no depressurization. But the crew was gone. Not dead, gone. Their stations were still warm. Half-eaten meals floated in 0G. A child's toy drifted past Malik's visor. "Where are they?" whispered Corporal Hayes. Malik didn't answer. He just kept moving, following the life sign deeper into the ship. They found the survivors in the cargo bay, huddled behind makeshift barricades of crates and netting. 12 Kalrathi, 3 adults, 9 children, stared at the humans with wide, terrified eyes. One of the adults, an older male with deep blue skin, spoke in broken standard. You shouldn't have come. We're here to help," Malik said gently, lowering his rifle. "We're getting you out." "No," the Kalrathi's voice cracked. "You don't understand. They sent the signal. They always do. They lure ships here, then." The lights went out. On the Resolute, every screen went dark. "Report," Rivera barked. "Power's fine," said Engineering. "But, Captain, something just cut our connection to the shuttle. Get it back. Now." Chen's hands flew over his console. "I'm trying, but wait. New contacts, multiple. They just appeared on sensors." "From where?" "Everywhere." The main view screen flickered to life. What Rivera saw made her heart stop. They weren't ships. They were things. Organic and mechanical, fused together in grotesque harmony. Each one was the size of a frigate, writhing with limbs that ended in surgical blades. They moved like insects scuttling across the wrecks, tearing into hulls, feeding. And they were coming for the Resolute. "Captain," Okafor said quietly, "we need to leave. Right now." Rivera's fists clenched. "Not without our people. They're already dead." "No." Her voice was iron. "We don't leave anyone behind. That's not who we are." She turned to the weapons officer. "Arm everything. Railguns, missiles, point defense. If it moves, kill it." Okafor stared at her. "Captain, we're human, Lieutenant. We don't run from monsters." Her smile was cold and sharp. We make them run from us. On the shuttle, Malik's fire team heard the screaming first. It came from the walls. From the vents. A sound that wasn't mechanical or organic. It was both. A chorus of stolen voices twisted into something that shouldn't exist. Then the walls began to move. Blades erupted from the bulkheads. The creatures poured in like a flood, clicking, shrieking, impossibly fast. Malik didn't hesitate. Weapons free. Protect the civilians. The cargo bay exploded with gunfire. And in the cold black void, the Resolute opened fire on the swarm. The galaxy was about to learn something it should have known all along. Never corner a human. Never threaten their own. Because humanity doesn't just survive hell. They bring it with them. The bite backed them. Resolute became a storm of light and fury. Railgun slugs tore through the void at a fraction of light speed, punching through the creatures like hammers through wet paper. Missile pods erupted in sequence, each warhead blooming into white-hot fire. The point defense grid came alive, a web of tracers that turned space into a killing field. But the creatures didn't stop. They didn't retreat. They adapted. They're learning our firing patterns, shouted the weapons officer. Changing approach vectors in real time, Rivera watched the tactical display, her mind racing. The things were smart. Too smart. They moved like a hive, each one covering the other's approach, using the wrecked ships as shields. Captain, they're targeting our engine pods, Okafor warned. They're trying to disable us, not destroy us. Because we're food, Rivera said coldly. They want us alive. She keyed the ship-wide comm. All hands, this is the captain. We are not leaving this system without our people. Engineering. I need every ounce of power you can give me. Medical, prep for mass casualties, and someone get me contact with that shuttle. Inside the Kalrathi transport, hell had arrived. The creatures swarmed through the cargo bay like a living nightmare. Malik's team formed a tight perimeter around the civilians, rifles hammering on full auto. The rounds punched through chitin and metal, spraying ichor and sparks, but for every creature that fell, 2 more took its place. Reloading. Hayes screamed. A blade lanced toward her. Malik stepped in, catching it on his armored forearm. The impact shattered his plating, but he didn't flinch. He jammed his rifle into the thing's center mass and emptied the magazine. It shrieked and collapsed, twitching. These things don't know what they're dealing with, Malik growled. He grabbed a plasma torch from a nearby crate. Hayes, grenades. Everyone else, get the civilians to the airlock. We're leaving, now. The older Kalrathi grabbed his arm. You can't fight them. No one can. They've killed dozens of species. Malik looked him dead in the eye. Then it's a good thing we're not like other species. He primed 3 grenades and threw them into the swarm. The explosion turned the cargo bay into an inferno. On the Resolute, Chen's console lit up. Captain, we have contact with the shuttle. Malik, report. The sergeant's voice came through, rough and breathless. We're mobile. 14 survivors secured. But Captain, we've got a problem. These things followed us. They're on the shuttle. Rivera's jaw clenched. Get back here. We'll handle it, negative. If we dock, they'll breach the Resolute. A pause, static. Captain, we're going to draw them away. Sergeant, that's a suicide run. With respect, ma'am, we're already dead if we don't. Malik's voice was calm, almost peaceful. Get the civilians. That's an order from a grunt who knows one when he sees one. Rivera closed her eyes. Open them. Chen, lock a tractor beam on that shuttle. The second it clears the swarm, we pull them in hard. Weapons, I want a firing solution that covers their retreat. Nothing gets through. Aye, Captain. The shuttle screamed away from the transport, 3 creatures clinging to its hull. Inside, Hayes fired through a breach in the bulkhead while Malik piloted with one hand, the other clutching his torn side. They're tearing through, Hayes shouted. Then make them regret it. A blade punched through the cockpit ceiling. Malik grabbed it, ignoring the pain as it cut into his palm, and jammed it into the control panel. Sparks exploded. The shuttle lurched violently, spinning. The creatures lost their grip. 2 tumbled into space. The third clung on, its limbs punching through the hull like nails. It shrieked, a sound that vibrated through metal and bone. Malik smiled. Blood on his teeth. You want in? Come on, then. He opened the airlock. The decompression was instant. The creature was sucked out, screaming into the black. Malik slammed the emergency seal and collapsed against the controls. Resolute, we're clear. Bring us home. The tractor beam caught the shuttle and yanked it toward the Resolute like a fish on a line. The creatures followed, a writhing mass of blades and hunger. But Rivera was ready. All batteries. Fire. The Resolute unleashed everything. The swarm vanished in a wall of fire and metal. The void lit up like a sun. When the light faded, there was nothing left but debris and silence. The shuttle docked. The survivors stumbled out, shaking, weeping. The Marines followed, battered but alive. Malik met Rivera's eyes. Said nothing. Didn't need to. 3 days later, the Resolute jumped back into Galactic Council space. The recording of what happened in the void sectors spread like wildfire. Every species saw it. The trap, the slaughter, the creatures that had haunted the galaxy for centuries. And they saw what humanity did. They saw Captain Rivera refuse to run. They saw Sergeant Malik hold the line. They saw a species that didn't abandon their own, even when it meant walking into hell. The Kalrathi children were returned to their people. The council offered honors, medals, treaties. Rivera declined them all. She only said one thing: we're human. We answer the call. That's who we are. Somewhere in the void sectors, the creatures that survived retreated into the dark. They had fed on 1,000 species, destroyed countless civilizations. But now they knew fear, because the galaxy's Deathworlders had a message written in fire and blood: never bait a human. They don't just bite back, they bite through.